Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Croft in Yorkshire for the seventh and final round of the virtual circuit racing season here as we are close towards the end of 2020. I think it's the end of the fourth or fifth season of VCR, TCR, of course, with the touring cars in action here at this wonderful circuit. Of course, qualifying underway. The championship, though, very much could be done and dusted already. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the commentary box, controlling the broadcast, is Paul, of course, as ever, doing a fantastic job there as we look at Dave Price in the Monster Energy liveried Audi. They're all Audis, of course, so no surprises there, as it's been the case all season. And Luke James there, who is currently down in 19th in the championship with just 8 points to his name. He is starting one of his first flying laps there. You can see on the right the track map for Croft Circuit, of course. And certainly had its fair share of action then. Let's remind ourselves how it goes. There's the fearsome chicane just after Hawthorne, going into the long straight that leads towards Tower Bend, the fast right-hander. Let's see how Luke James negotiates it. With the third person out, you can see the rear right tyre crying enough on entry there as he gets the braking out of the way. Now on the long run southwards towards Jim Clark S's, named of course after the legendary Scotsman and two-time Formula One world champion. Into Barcroft, you can see lots of tyre rubber laid down there as Luke James gets a wheel on the grass and finds himself heading into the countryside there. That is Sunny in, followed of course by Sunny out, as there's Chris McIntosh negotiating the chicane. And Chris McIntosh is fifth in the championship, 236 points currently to his name. So he is looking to really impress here. And I don't know if Paul wants to be brought in the commentary, if he wants to just focus on the broadcast, so I'm not sure if I should hand over and ask him any questions, see if he can illuminate anything.
I'm more than happy to answer
that's
questions.
Good.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, so, of course, final round of the season, as we see everybody getting Sunny in completely wrong there, right into the service road. But yeah, Chris McIntosh all over the curb, nearly off track completely as he attempts to finish his first flying lap. Second flying lap, I should say, because he currently is top of the pile, 123.45. And is there a rule about the tyre compounds they have to use in this series, Paul, or is it just you use whatever you want to as long as you think you can get it to the end?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think it's use what you need to and making sure you can keep them in. And the races here are relatively short in this series, so we're not talking hour races, but especially in these TCR models, kind of sticking to kind of the format you see like in the British touring cars, right? The races are short and sweet. But Crofts is not a track that I've put a lot of laps around. How about yourself?
I've not driven it specifically, but I can say that for a lot of the tracks in iRacing, having not owned the game. But but yeah, it's certainly one I've commentated on races at before, as we see is that McIntosh again flirting with the track limits, getting all over the curb coming out of the high-speed Tower Bend and towards Jim Clark S's. And now into Sunny in and Sunny out. Again, just billowing smoke as whenever they hit the brakes in these cars, of course, so always looks a little bit more dramatic than it really is. There's a bit more grass cutting there. And yeah, I think it's a sort of circuit, Croft, where there's this really tight final sector with the hairpin, which is the final corner. But there's this really fast flowing track. Sort of sectors 1 and 2 are very, very quick. And I really think you can sort of, just by ditching your stuff wrong, you can sort of get a wheel on the grass. You can maybe carrying too much speed for Sunny in and find yourself on the service road. It is a really, really tricky circuit for the unawares, potentially.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm breaking up.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you are. But yeah, no, it's not a track that I'm particularly familiar with, but it's one of those old school British tracks, isn't it? So you don't have big grandstands everywhere. You know, as we can see, the spectators in the track are on the grass, on the mounds, and in places, and it means it's quite open, so you can see the cars from quite a distance at certain points. But yeah, we've had some really good close in the last round I did a couple of rounds ago. We had the top three were constantly battling, but like this track here, I think chances to overtake might be limited because there is the odd heavy braking zone here, but also there isn't. It's not the widest track, is it?
No, hopefully I sound not quite as bad. I've tried to limit my video stream by making it as tiny as possible. I have to figure out which pixel is whom to compensate, but hopefully my voice will sound okay. So that's the compromise we have to run here. For me to get the timing screen and the actual stream itself. But yeah, one driver we have noticed isn't here today is Trafford King, DH Racing, on 359 points. So yeah, no Trafford, unfortunately. So that means our potential champion-elect, providing nothing completely extraordinary happens, has probably done enough to seal the title mathematically. So unfortunately, we are not going to see the lead of the championship change hands. It's really a battle for second between Josh Haythwaite and Luke Woodhouse. And as you can see, Josh Haythwaite fourth at the moment, Luke Woodhouse sixth. Not a whole lot between them in the overall lap times here. I think if I'm looking at the predicted lap times of both of them, 1:24.0 for Woodhouse at the moment. I think he's setting 1:24.2s, which is his personal best so far, is Haythwaite in the 1:24.1s.
Yeah, they're really close, aren't they? And the top two are in the high 1:23s, and then you've got Price, Haythwaite, Hayes, Woodhouse and Burnett and Bosworth in the 1:24s, and then you've got Addy, Tizera, as Luke Southall then just moves up into P3. I think I just saw there, or somebody moved.
It was Lee Southall, yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So setting a 1:23.9. So now there's three of them in the 1:23s, all in the very high 1:23s though. As we're watching Dave Price, who's green at the first time in there. So. He's on a slightly faster lap. He might be able to gain that P3 back, but time will tell.
Have Josephine Cravara in the chat. He says, "Let's go, Juan Tizera. You got it." So one at the moment, instead of Matthew Addy on a 1:24.870, as we ride on board with, is that Dave Price then?
It is, yeah.
Just trying to survive there. Somebody gets well off track again. Seems to be a sunny in and sunny out. Seems to be going in and out of the circuit rather than in and out through the apex for a lot of these drivers. They desperately try and stay out of each other's way, basically.
Yeah, it's all about trying to carry as much speed, isn't it? And in qualifying, you can kind of do that if you've got a bit of time. You can ruin the odd lap here and there. But at the same time, I mean, during the race, you don't want to be sacrificing yourself too much, because these cars are relatively close packed together, especially in the first few laps, and you could find yourself right at the back of the queue very quickly. But yes, you see the way they throw these cars around, though, Ed. It's they've got this amazing agility, and these are the kind of cars that really bring close racing, door-to-door action because they don't just go off the track at any kind of moment. You can drift them around if you really want. I wouldn't recommend it because it's not exactly the fastest way to get around a lap, but you can if you want.
Yeah, exactly. It is easy to learn, difficult to master these TCR Audis, essentially. Well, they are, of course, yeah, that is that if you are used to rear-wheel drive cars, it can be quite difficult. They do chew up fronts a little bit more than you might expect. It's a lot easier, or more natural, I should say, to save your tire if you're in a rear-wheel drive car, which is not always an option in TCR. As we now ride on board with Juan Tizera, who is still ninth fastest. Is he going any quicker on this particular lap? He was in the first sector. He set personal best last time around, but the middle and final sectors are a bit slower. Josh Haythwaite, by the way, has set a purple final sector, but we are also seeing McIntosh and Price lining up the timing screens as well. Luke James has also gone fastest in the final sector, although I'm not sure if timing screen. It seems to be showing different final sectors for me from Luke James every half a second, so I'm not sure if it can make up its mind on that.
Yeah, it relies on what the game is telling us, but McIntosh is currently on to try. He's according to it. It reckons he's going to go faster. So we shall see. But it's tight. Like I think he's kind of on the edge of. His best lap is like a 1:23.8, and I think he's. I mean, look how close Ben Hayes is behind, though. I mean, that's nothing, is it? Really, that's like a blink of an eye.
No, yeah, exactly. So it can really turn on a dime this qualifying session. Ben Hayes has been threatening to displace him, but he's not quite been able to do so. I think both of them have dipped into the 1:23.8s essentially. So, as we see McIntosh almost leaving the circuit completely there through Sonny in and Sonny out. The grass almost looked taller than the Audi there as McIntosh pulls off. How much time is left in the session? About 40 seconds as all billowing smoke from the rear tyres there. I'm just looking through the record and seeing to see if McIntosh should have won any races so far. I think he's been fairly consistently on the podium. I don't think I've seen him top of the table just yet at any individual race, unless my memory is completely failing me there. But yeah, certainly he will be relishing a chance to lead from the front with Trafford King absent. Woodhouse goes sixth fastest on a 24.077, just short of Josh Haythwaite. So Haythwaite Woodhouse will be a good little fight, but they are currently 5th and 6th in the fight for second in the championship. And we can't forget about Lee Southall, who is behind them by about 16 points or so, but is one place ahead of both of them in third at the moment. So Southall is not far behind pole position either. Whoa, as we see Ben Hayes almost looping it around completely. That could be his final effort finish then, as we cut to Southall, who is right into the bollards in the complex and then has to, I think, abandon that lap. Here comes Haythwaite to the line. What's it going to be for Josh Haythwaite? It is four fastest. He does leapfrog ahead of Dave Price there.
Yeah, leaving it to the last moment. So I'm sure, and he gets into the high 1:23s there. So he joins the 1:23 club with that final lap as well. So yeah, good going that.
Yeah, and he's the fourth man to do so behind McIntosh, Hayes, Southall. But yeah, we also see Matthew Addy improving on his final run, getting up to 10th, just ahead of Daryl Moss. So 12 runners in this particular event, round 7 of the season, our final one, of course. And I believe it's a 20-minute race coming up, if I'm not mistaken, or is it 15?
It should be a 20-minute race, I believe.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, that would make sense. If the 2 race events are 10 minutes each, then it would make sense for just a single race to be double the normal length. So the grid order should be Chris McIntosh on pole position from Ben Hayes. Then it's Lee Southall and Josh Haythwaite. Of course, just less than a tenth of a second separates all of our top 4 already. Then it's Dave Price in 5th, Luke Woodhouse 6th. So work for him to do if he wants to beat Haythwaite in the standings. Tom Burnett is 7th. Stephen Bosworth is 8th. Juan Tizera lines up 9th with Matthew Addy just behind him. Daryl Moss is 11th. And then the grid is rounded out by Luke James. And James's best lap was a 1:27, so he's about 2 seconds slower than Daryl Moss. But really, McIntosh to Moss, they're only just over a second is the spread in terms of ultimate pace on the qualifying lap between all of them. So it may be a slightly smaller field than what we've come to expect so far this season. Obviously, with the championship pretty much done and dusted, that's sort of expected, isn't it? That people give up when there's not the ultimate prize left to fight for. But
yeah, they do. But also people have lives outside of work, outside of sim racing, even, don't they?
That's very true.
Sometimes you got things you can't miss. You know, whether that be a birthday, a wedding, or or just catching up with friends. So yeah, a good mix of drivers' skills, I think, here tonight. I think we'll have. It'll be interesting to see whether the likes of Burnett and Bosworth are able to keep up with the top 5 or 6 even. Nevertheless, looking forward to some great action out on track.
Yeah, and they are 7th and 8th on the grid, but they are, of course, Bosworth and Burnett, 15th and 14th in the championship, respectively. Stephen Bosworth, 34 points, Tom Bennett, 35. So there's every chance they could maybe sneak their way into at least 13th, with Jake Hewlett, I think, is their closest competitor in the championship. Juan Tizera, of course, 12th, is on 53 points ahead of them, but right behind them on the grid as well. So Tizera is another driver trying to fight with Daryl Moss and Jake Wardler. So you do see the drivers that have potentially done more races, even if they finished near the back, they've banked the points. As now we see we aren't far away from the start of our final race of the season then. McIntosh on the right, Ben Hayes it's actually McIntosh on the left and Hayes on the right, isn't it? So here we got our red lights about to extinguish, and when they do, we'll be underway for the final time this season then, and McIntosh has made a very clean getaway as Ben Hayes tucks in behind on the run into the Hawthorne bend here. Oh, there we go. Actually, Haythwaite has gotten ahead of Ben Hayes there, so that was not ideal for the man 7th in the championship. He's lost that front row start to the man 2nd in the championship there, as we see a bit of wheel banging through the chicane, and I think Daryl Moss has overtaken Matthew 80 in all of that there, and Tizera also sneaking through as well then. So the order is McIntosh, Haythwaite, Hayes, Southall, Woodhouse, Price, Bosworth, Tom Burnett, Daryl Moss, Tizera, 80, and James, as we are halfway through the opening lap then. So still a good 19 minutes left to go then, and every chance that Chris McIntosh may have to fight to hold on to what would be a brilliant way to end the season with a win. But Haythwaite seems very intent to secure that runners-up spot in the championship to close the points gap to Trafford King as much as possible. As we see a move being lined up here, this is Price trying to clear Luke Woodhouse, but Woodhouse gets back ahead as they enter the complex there. So Woodhouse braving it out around the outside as they now go into the complex before the final hairpin. Oh dear.
Ben Hayes. Yeah, Ben Hayes falling back, so he's gone deep into the final corner.
Oh dear. So Hayes, after that brilliant start, it has all gone a bit to pot for him, hasn't it? And that is not what he would have wanted at all, as he drops down to, I think Hayes is now in P7 there, as we see everybody shuffling for position. Dave Price leading a bit of a train, as behind Price is now Bosworth and Burnett, of course, in their own little personal battle in the championship. But of course, that's not ideal for Price to have that kind of pressure on his shoulders. Oh dear. So that is our man 3rd in the points, as we see a big dive from Tom Burnett into Tower Bend, but he's overcooked it. He's gone a little bit too deep, and now it's just going to allow Stephen Bosworth immediately back past him.
Yeah, quite an aggressive move that, wasn't it? But it was going to be tough to make that stick at that point. As you say, kind of overcooked it a little bit. These cars do like to create a little bit of a bonfire at times with the smoke, but. Ben Hayes,
it is nearly November, so...
yeah, true. I think Ben Hayes will be a little bit annoyed with himself going deep there, because that's really, unfortunately, affected his race. As we see Bosworth there goes deep. Can Burnett take advantage? No, unfortunately he can't. But he goes deep again.
Oh, and there's a small gap up the inside for Burnett, but again, Bosworth just goes the long way around and holds on to that 5th position then, does Stephen Bosworth then. So all the while, it is McIntosh that is setting fastest laps, 109.2, just continuing to breeze away from Josh Haythwaite here. Haythwaite, I think, will see if he can find anything to keep up with his rival, who was half a second quicker that previous lap. Lee Southall falling onto 3rd quite convincingly. And Southall may even be with a chance of beating Woodhouse here. Has Woodhouse come out of the pits since going in? We see Ben Hayes trying to recover ground up the inside. Hayes up briefly into sixth position before Tom Bennett immediately repassed him. They're going side by side there. Who was it who had to back out? I think it was Hayes.
Yeah, so Hayes then still in 7th position, trying to get past Tom Burnett. Unfortunately for Luke Woodhouse, he looks like he's still in the pits, according to what I'm seeing. So I think that's his race over for some reason, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he must have gotten in the contact into Hawthorne's and the chicane on the first lap. But we saw, as all, a little bit of a big slide there from Hayes as he's desperately trying to find a way through past Tom Burnett, going out of the hairpin there. And that's the problem. You can sort of drift it into the hairpin, but that really hurts your exit essentially, because you're just going to be so slow getting it. The traction down is a little wide into Hawthorne's, and there's the opportunity. Through goes Ben Hayes. Tom Burnett goes just that little bit wide through the middle part of Hawthorne's and Clairvaux, the first couple of corners, and that is him into P6 then.
Dave Price up into P4. So yeah, he's made some good progress since the start. But yeah, Tom there with a good move, and can Ben Hayes now gain any? I
think Price was 5th on the grid, wasn't he? So he's actually done a very good job holding on to that. I think it's Woodhouse being taken out of the picture that's really opened the door for him. There's every chance as well that if Southall makes a mistake, Dave Price could become a factor in that podium fight. But Ben Hayes is the man we've really got to watch at the moment, as we see Bosworth making a big error through Sunny in and Sunny out, and that has dropped him down to P7. In fact, down to P8 as Juan Tizera gratefully goes up to P7 as well. There is Bosworth looking battered and wounded as he crawls around the circuit. So that is a very, very damaged looking number 19 Audi.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what happened there, but Chris McIntosh continues to set the pace, and Josh Haythwaite just hasn't got the speed to catch him at present. That gap is just slowly opening up, isn't it? It's ever so slight.
Yeah, last lap, 0.2 quicker was Chris McIntosh. So he just continues to extend his stranglehold on this race. You can see the gap to Haythwaite is almost ballooned just to about a second. It was obviously a lot closer at the very, very start, as we see Bosworth now, I think, has fallen to the back of the field, those still running in P11. So Luke James gets into the top 10. Matthew 80 also the 9th now as well, as he tries to chase down Darrell Moss. Southall, by the way, sets a personal best lap, 124.5, but a 10th slower than Dave Price behind him then. So we are starting to see the gap slightly extend, but I think Hayes versus Price will be interesting. That last lap of Ben Hayes was a bit slower, 125.7 there, as he was dealing with all the action behind him. Tom Burnett has actually fallen behind Jan Tizera as well. So Jan Tizera now up into P6, which is a very strong performance by him, I believe.
Yeah, that is sometimes half the battle is just keeping it on the black stuff, right? And you'll gain a few positions. If you can just sort of keep your nose clean, as they say, you'll make progress. But yeah, Ben Hayes now setting his sights on Dave Price. He just set a personal best last time around, so he was a couple of tenths quicker. So he's bringing that gap down, and Southall's just a couple of seconds ahead of them.
If he was to get in pole position, you wouldn't bet against Ben Hayes fighting back here. And of course, he's fighting with Dave Price for 6th in the championship, and then there's McIntosh, who is 5th as well. So
Tizera's just falling back down to P7 there.
Oh, so Burnett gets back through. There we go, side by side they go, and Tizera is in that orange and the yellow and black car, sorry, whereas in the full black is Tom Burnett then. So yeah, Burnett, having made a mistake, retakes that 6th position and then showers Juan Tizera in a bunch of smoke coming out of Sunny in and Sunny out. As yeah, Tizera now will look to try and keep with him and keep the pressure on, hope that Burnett makes another mistake as they go into the complex here. But Juan is just the big air balloon in the background there. while not looking quite as strong as his immediate competitors in front of him. So he's really got to hope this turns into a race of attrition and that he is there to pick up the pieces when it matters then. Here is Ben Hayes again, continuing to chase down Dave Price. This time he's 4/10 quicker that previous lap, 1:24.2. So he is the fastest man on track by a fair margin. Matthew Adey, that's 1:25.3. I was about to say there's that in the 1:24s, but nope. Matthew Adey is significantly slower, but he is trying to catch Darren Moss in front of him as we continue to look at Ben Hayes increasing the amount of pressure on Dave Price's shoulders. And what can Dave Price do here? Because if Ben Hayes gets a great run out of tower, for example, or onto the start-finish straight, or even out of the chicane into tower, those are all great overtaking opportunities down the straight, essentially. So here, he's really just got to nail these exits here and hope that he can catch Southall before Ben Hayes starts to really, truly come upon him.
Yeah, and he's bearing down on him now, so he's got him in his sights. But as we've seen, and as we kind of predicted during qualifying, it's not easy to overtake here, is it? And you can see previously when Ben Hayes was trying to make moves, especially to that final corner, he was trying to tuck very closely onto the inside, which I think you rightly pointed out was affecting his exit, because the car he was chasing had the better line of the exit, and he was compromising him a little bit. So interested to see what he could do in the next sort of 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, so aggressive into that first corner. He's so much closer to the inside than pretty much everybody around him is Ben Hayes, and that makes sense given the lap times he was able to display in qualifying. 1:24.2, so he has matched his lap time, got even quicker than the lap before, whereas Price is still in the 24.8s here. But we are beyond half distance now, so just 9.5 minutes to go, or less than that actually. So Ben Hayes is in a situation where he's running out of time here. I think really the upper ceiling of what you can achieve here is if he classes Price quickly, he maybe will have a shot at Southall before the clock runs out, essentially. And there is Southall just escaping in the foreground as they come out of Sunny in and Sunny out, and Barcroft, of course, just before it, which is that sort of right-hand kink. But now Ben Hayes has got he's got Dave Price very much exactly where he wants him. Is he going to be close enough for a dive into the hairpin? No, he thinks better of it this time, but Price goes a little bit wide, and this is going to really allow Ben Hayes to position himself to the outside into turn one.
Indeed, and we're as this battle on screen happens into T1, as you rightly point out, we've just had one of the drivers join us, Luke Woodhouse, who's he messaged me to say he's been disqualified, and he said, "Can I come and join you in the broadcast booth?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure you can." So welcome, and to the booth, Luke. Is he there?
Seems to have been disqualified from talking.
Hello.
There we go. Woodhouse joins us now. So, Luke, commiserations, because obviously that's not the way you would have wanted the race to end, nor your season. No. And it really has compromised that fight for second place, which was really the only thing left to fight for in the championship. That's over now. So, bit of disappointment on your half. What happened?
Yeah, a bit of disappointment. No, it was just first lap stuff. Ended up going onto the grass. There's a little rule that we've got on the server. It just seems to default itself on. So when you sort of go off the track, it'll give you a slowdown penalty. And obviously I saw it pop up on the top of my screen. It's like slow down to like 20 mile an hour. And if you don't do it, you get disqualified. So it was something that I'd turned off for every single round, but clearly forgot to turn it back off for this round. So sort of shot myself in the foot, and obviously I think Matt Addy had the same issue. It's not ideal really, but yeah, just one of those.
So you've only got yourself to blame there, Luke, really, is what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I thought I'd join you in the commentary and be on the other end of it for the race.
Ooh. As you say, that little mistake from Ben Hayes through Hawthorns, and that loses him a couple of attempts. He was right behind Dave Price in this fight for fourth. I imagine, Luke, it's a bit of an odd situation having you commentate on your competitors here, because obviously Lee Southall in third is in with a great chance of overhauling you. He's only about 16 points behind, isn't he?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely. I think Chris will overhaul me as well. Chris should overtake me here. Josh will then remain P2 as well. But I mean, it's great to see because the grids this round have been really good. Like as you saw in qualifying, it was the top 6, 7, 8 drivers within probably 3-4 attempts. Really, really good racing.
Indeed, it is. It has been impressive, especially the level of the front runners, top 4, top 5 or so, have all been incredibly strong and evenly matched here. McIntosh and Haythwaite have been starting to trade fastest laps with one another, but they are still about a second apart. As you can see, Josh Haythwaite desperate to get another win to his name. I don't think Chris McIntosh has won, or if he has won this season, he's certainly not won quite as often as Trafford King and Haythwaite in front of him as well. But he is in with a brilliant chance. Has peaked exactly when it matters at the end of the season. As you can see, the gap to Southall has extended to a good number of seconds now, isn't it? It's at least 5 or 6.
Ben Hayes is passed.
Oh, and Hayes passed Price, as you correctly point out. So I think Dave Price slowing down, and that might be because he was in danger of corner cutting. Maybe he's had a similar thing to you, Luke, as there we go.
Yeah,
Tom
exactly
Burnett.
what it is.
He just gets out the way of Burnett in time there, but you can see just track extending one time too many has really cost Dave Price quite badly as he drops from 4th to 6th. Maybe even Juan Tizera is going to get past him as well.
Such a terrible mistake by me. Obviously,
Your name's going to be Mud, isn't it, Luke?
Say again.
Your name's going to be Mud.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Rightly so. Rightly so. It's something you turn off once, and I expected it to do it throughout the championship, but it didn't. It's something I had to do every single round, and obviously this time must have slipped past my mind.
I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but that's where it's really handy having a checklist. I find when I'm doing certain broadcasts and you're having to set things up, having a checklist, because sometimes, depending which sim you're broadcasting, that list can be endless. But yeah, we all have these moments. These cars are great fun, though, aren't they, Luke?
They are great fun. Yeah, they really are. I mean, last season we came off the back of the BTC cars, which were an absolute dream to drive. So it was quite a tough ask, really, for the TCR cars to live up to that. But I think they've done it, to be honest. I think they have lived up to it, especially with the setups that we've put on them. It's definitely sort of opened up the car a little bit more. But going with GT3 next season, hopefully we can, one, remain the grid being so tight, and then two, hopefully everyone enjoys them as much as they are with the TCR.
And that's you're going to ACC, is that right?
Well, we did toy with the idea, but
right.
I think for the majority of people, everyone spends a lot of time on AC.
Right,
so I think making the jump, you'd probably lose a bit of the competitiveness from the grid. So you'd probably see more spaced out drivers and stuff. So we did decide to stick with AC.
Okay. So what cars have you got next season?
So we have got the 6 cars. We've got the Porsche 911 GT3. We've got the Ferrari 296 GT3. We've got the Mustang GT3. We have the R8 GT3. And there is one more, which has slipped my mind. But a good selection of cars.
Well, while you're talking about the future, we've also got to focus on the present. Sorry, Luke, because Tizera continuing to be under pressure from Dave Price, who's trying to recover from that slowdown and that mistake. As you can see them all just going as wide as they can on the entry and flirting with the bollards and the track limits with them as well. And you can tell here, Price may be a bit frustrated here, but Tizera in with a brilliant chance of a top 6 finish if he can hold on to this one. Ben Hayes, by the way, did lap the lap before this one, the one that they've just finished. He was 3/10 quicker than Lee Southall. This time Southall struck back, and they're both in the 1:24.7s then. So Hayes might run out of time here for a final attack at the podium here, as Burnett is very much on his own in 5th and has nobody to fight with.
Got 2 lovely chases on, haven't we? P3 and P4 and P1 and P2.
Yeah, personal best lap for Stephen Bosworth. Oh, and off goes Tizera. I think he's had a slowdown as well. Going on the outside onto the grass. Sunny in and Sunny out. Just got the braking a little bit too long. And he found himself heading into the countryside if he wasn't careful there. So Dave Price very grateful to be given that position.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cars go wide there, Luke, at sunny in and sunny out. It's is it because people are just trying to be a little bit too greedy and carry too much speed?
It is a tricky one because the way you take it, you almost want to get back on the power straight away, and it's almost flat then through to sunny out. Obviously, with the fuel load, it makes it difficult. Following cars, which what happened to me, as you probably see all the tyre smoke with cars crossing the rear wheel, it does create a little bit of difficulty spotting the apex, spotting the throttle point and stuff. So that's what happened to me, but it's definitely a difficult corner.
Yep, it certainly brings its challenges. And yeah, as you can tell, some of the drivers dealing with it slightly better than others. Chris McIntosh, Josh Haythwaite definitely been the standouts in this final race of the season, as the clock is moments away from running out, about 20 seconds to be precise then, as we look at Daryl Moss in ninth, trying to chase down Matthew Addy, but he's not quite had the pace of Addy. Last lap was, I think, a second and a half slower. So he's just trying to make it to the end. At least is still ahead of Stephen Bosworth after his issues today. But here's McIntosh starting what will be the final lap of the race. Addy's pushing. Look, he's starting to build the gap to Josh Haythwaite again. And if he gets a slowdown, going for a fastest lap right at the end, that will be incredibly cruel, because Chris McIntosh from pole position has never looked in particular trouble, despite the pressure that Josh Haythwaite has piled onto his shoulders. McIntosh has held firm, has not lost his head, has just lapped consistently, cleanly, and quickly, and that's exactly what you need to do when you start from the front then. So through the Jim Clark S's for the final time, into Barcroft and Sunny in. And again, looking neat and tidy. Now he gets on the brakes. You can see the telltale black part of the tarmac where everybody's been braking, stomping on the brakes to make sure they don't go off into the grass. Into the complex he comes now for the last time. Following that will be the hairpin, of course, and McIntosh is going to sign off the season with a brilliant victory that's going to potentially put him into the top 4, top 3 in the Drivers' Championship. So right at the end, he peaks. And what a fabulous time to do so as well. Chris McIntosh across the line. He wins here, round 7 at Croft, with Josh Haythwaite in second. Lee Southall, a couple of seconds further back, is going to take third, just holding off a resurgent Ben Hayes. But Ben will feel a little aggrieved after starting on the front row. He could have gotten a bit more out of that race with the pace he had underneath him. Tom Burnett is going to take P5. And that's great for him in his little battle for 13th and 12th position in the championship. Then it will be Dave Price, disappointed in 6th, just ahead of Juan Tizera. Matthew Addy will finish 8th. Daryl Moss 9th. Stephen Bosworth 10th. And Luke James will bring up the rear. Unfortunately, James was about 10 seconds off the pace on that previous lap.
To what I'm seeing, so unfortunately, I don't
so James, we won't see Luke cross the line then. So there we go. Another Luke does not make the finish, as there we see, looks like Moss crossing the line. So Bosworth now will be the final finisher to cross the line after his massive slowdown early. You can see him just getting all out of shape through the complex, and into hairpin he comes. It's been a difficult day, but he does get to the end. He does score some points, and that could be key for Bosworth, who's 15th in the championship. He isn't going to beat Tom Burnett, but he might just get a couple of points that gains him a place or two in the overall standings then. So that's all of our finishers completing the race then. And there we go. The season is over, and it is the man on top, no question. It is McIntosh, who put together a brilliant drive there. He was on 236 points going in, so quite a way behind some of his immediate rivals. But really, his best performance of the season coming right at the end, it must be said, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be really pleased with that. That's a good way to end a season, isn't it, Luke? He'll
Yep, very good. Very good from Chris.
Give a little bit of confidence next season, right?
Definitely. Should start him off on the right foot, like you say. It should start off on a high there for Chris. Yeah, definitely a different beast to drive with the GT3 cars. We have done a bit of testing. But yeah, be a great season next season. Chris should have the starting on the high.
Yeah, I think because the advantage that Chris has got, Ed, is he's got a number of weeks now to wait until season 2, so he can live off that for a number of weeks.
yeah, exactly. It's certainly going to be bragging rights, isn't it, during the off season? But just to confirm our finishes, we did call them as they crossed the line. Let's just confirm what should be the final result. It is Chris McIntosh beating Josh Haythwaite by, I believe, just over a second and a half, nearly 2 seconds there. Then it is Haythwaite, of course, in second. Southall some way behind in third, just over a second ahead of Ben Hayes. Then it is Tom Burnett in fifth, Dave Price in sixth, Juan Desera seventh, Matthew Addy eighth. Then it will be Daryl Moss in ninth, Stephen Bosworth 10th, Luke James in the pit, so he's a lap down at least. And then, of course, Luke Woodhouse in the commentary box before the race ended, and that should tell you that he did not make the finish. As now, I think we have just been joined, sorry, that wasn't me, by our race winner, Chris McIntosh, mid-celebration. So I interrupt you, Chris, but well, and you end the season with possibly your best performance to date. Then you set pole position, you pulled away from Haythwaite behind you. Haythwaite was within a second for most of the race, but you never really looked particularly troubled by him.
Yeah, like it's definitely my best finish. I've never came. Well, I don't even think I've stuck it on pole in qualifying, but yeah, I couldn't really afford to make a single mistake, to be honest, because Josh was pretty consistent behind me.
And obviously, this is a result that does a world of good for your championship. I think you might have just snuck out ahead of Mr. Woodhouse, who joined us, having been disqualified from the race midway through. So certainly finishing what should be in the top 4, top 3, it is great considering you came in from 5th in the championship today. Going to next season, of course, it's a very different kettle of fish, so to speak, because we're using the GD3, so there's a bit more choice in the way you get to pick. Have you had any thoughts about what you want to drive next season, or are you going to just do a bit of testing and then decide?
Well, we've done a wee bit of testing. I've got an idea of what I want to pick, but I think we're going into a server after this race to do some more. So at the moment, not fully decided.
Okay, I thought you were going to have a big champagne party first, but never mind. Anyway, before we let Chris go, Paul, did you have any questions for him?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I don't really think I made that many mistakes throughout really qualifying or the race, so I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, like I say, I'm very happy with the result.
Just a quick one as well for you, Chris. I believe you have secured P3 by 1 point.
Fantastic.
Would be your
They've had a hint of bitterness from Mr. Woodhouse. It's a very sporting league.
Yeah, no. 1 point, I think, which was your qualifying pole, which would give you that point to just overtake me.
So it was all meant to be.
Yeah.
Clearly. What do you want to shout out before we let you go?
Just like you guys for putting on a stream every week. It's really good to watch it back. Look, all the boys putting in the effort to actually do these series. I would say like the driving's definitely came on since the start of the series. It's a lot closer, as you can see from like qualifying times. There's not much between everyone now, so hopefully that carries on to next season, but we'll see. But yeah, just appreciate everyone involved.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, you can enjoy a well-earned victory, Chris, for at least 2 minutes until you get on the server to prepare for next season then. So yeah. Thanks for talking to us and a brilliant performance. Congratulations.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, Chris.
So then, Chris McIntosh goes to celebrate. Let's jog in. The man who finished second, Josh Haythwaite, joins us now. Josh, obviously an interesting start there. We saw Ben Hayes hitting difficulties right on the first lap. and then that allowing you to get up to second position, and you were challenging Chris for a lot of the race, but unfortunately Chris didn't make any mistakes despite the amount of pressure you were putting him under. You were always just within about a second of him, but it's a case of, I guess, so close yet so far, and I guess that kind of sums up the season, finishing P2 as well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It was a bit, again, manic. It's like with the last couple of races, it's just been a bit manic. I think with this track with Croft, there's been some issues with track cuts, and that's why the likes of like Luke got DQ'd. Ben had to like take a really wide line to serve just a stupidly long slowdown. And then, yeah, as you said, it was trying to chase Chris down the whole time, and I'm like flashing him from a second back, just like, please make a mistake, please, just put 1 foot wrong, and he didn't. He had an absolutely immaculate race. And yeah, no, I mean, I'm not too upset about finishing P2. I mean, there's worse people to lose to, and losing to Traff is it's not inevitable, but the man is very, very good, and it's a well-deserved win for him throughout the championship.
He is somewhat of a force of nature, a little bit, isn't he? So next season, obviously, we just talked to Chris, and he was talking about how he wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time celebrating because he was immediately going to hop on the server and start practicing and figuring out which shitty free card wants to use next season. Are you excited for next season? And do you think you can maybe go one better, or is it just a case of getting the best out of it?
I am so excited for next season. If you can't tell, I'm grinning ear to ear. I adore GT3 cars. I learned sim racing on GT3 cars. It is my go-to. So, yeah, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to it, you know. Like, it's all right.
Just a little bit, Josh. Just a little
You're
bit.
hyping yourself up there a little bit, Mr. Haythwaite, I feel.
Josh has
I think
been
I'll be
saying
able to
to me-
put on a good show.
Okay.
Josh has been saying to me for multiple seasons now that can we do some rear-wheel drive cars? Can we do some GT3 cars? And I think his prayers have finally been answered.
Well, if he comes last in the championship, we can all just point and laugh, right?
You have my permission to point and laugh if I come last.
You mentioned the slowdowns. I mean, you've only got one man to blame for that, and that would be one Mr. Luke Woodhouse. Anything you want to comment on that?
I'm not blaming Luke. I'm blaming Asato's questionable penalty system.
Yeah,
it is
fair.
definitely something that needs looking at. We knew it were an issue. I think from the first race there was problems with the track cuts and the slowdown penalty that you get. It says it's something like 20 seconds, which is just obscene.
Yeah, that's mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What it
that
was,
is
Josh,
crazy.
just for a bit of insight, was every round I've manually turned it off, but this one.
Oh, it's your fault then.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
All right, I retract my statement. I blame Luke entirely.
Yeah.
There we go.
Any opportunity to throw the boss under the bus, you got to take it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, brilliant.
Anyway,
Brilliant
Josh,
racing.
we
No, well done, Mr. Haythwaite tonight. That was, unfortunate that you couldn't get that win, but Chris McIntosh tonight was just on another level, I think.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely spot on. He well deserved that. He was really fast in quali, unbelievably precise in the race, and no, he deserved it more than I did.
Well, that's very sporting of you to say, Josh. Anyone you want to shout out before you let you go, buddy?
As always, my wonderful fiance, my granddad watching at home, and you guys again for another season. Incredible coverage, amazing commentary. Just really has brought this alive. It's been absolutely phenomenal to have you back, and we look forward to seeing what you can do with the next season.
Right. I know James Parfitt has done the vast majority of this season, but I'm going to take all the credit there, just jumping in, filling in at the end. So,
well, you're here and
thank you very
he's
much.
not, so you can.
Yes, exactly.
That's very true.
Yes. I like
Very
that
true.
a lot.
As
Josh.
long as you're
Well
there to
said.
hear the compliment, then it's all for you. But anyway, thank you very much for talking to us, Josh, and well done on another very strong podium.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care.
All right, and now one more driver to speak to. That is Mr. Lee Southall from Next Gen Racing, who joins us now. Lee, it was a little bit quiet up until the end with Ben catching you. But a strong end to the season, I think. Unfortunately, due to Chris winning, I think you're still P4 in the Drivers' Championship at the end of this. I think you might be just behind Luke Woodhouse, the man who just joined us mid-race. But nonetheless, a strong season for you, got to say. And next season could yet be even better. But it was the real pressure in that race from behind really only came right at the end when Ben Hayes started to give you a bit of trouble.
Yeah, thank you. It's I really enjoyed that, especially the last part of the season. Seem to have found a bit of a comfort zone with the car, so I seem to be doing quite well, even with carrying the ballast. I was not expecting to have that kind of pace in quali. Carrying 50 kg, it usually hurts you quite a bit. But I pulled it around the track. It seemed to work out for me, but I was absolutely gutted by the. I'm not in the chat with the guys, so I didn't really know what was going on. But first lap or second lap, got a random 10-second penalty, like slow down. Midway through, I think it was the second to third corner, middle of the track just popped up. I'm like, no, you're joking me. I'm trying to hold on to these two at the front, and I just have to drop right off, and that just sat me on my own for the whole race. But yeah, I was watching Dave behind for a while, and I think he may have got a cut track because he seemed to have disappeared.
He
And then I
did,
saw,
yes.
yeah, then I saw Ben tracking me down, but I kind of just wanted to keep it on track, so I didn't push too hard. I knew I only had a couple of laps or so left, so it did kind of get a bit too close for comfort on the last lap, but I was pretty. I knew I'd sort of get there. I have got the championship up, unless it's wrong. I
You are
thought
P3, Lee.
I guess I think I've snatched P3, haven't I?
You have. You are P3, and to
Okay,
my
Luke
error,
lied to me earlier.
yeah, to my error again tonight. That's two tonight. Chris is P5, just
Such
behind
an
him.
offence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you held off on saying it until Chris left, so that's very
Blind
strategic,
feedback.
telling different people that they've won the championship.
Yeah.
But massive
There we
congrats to Traff for winning it without even being here. That's a accomplishment and a half, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, as I was saying to Josh, he is somewhat of a force of nature, isn't he?
Oh,
And you and
absolutely.
Josh are going to have to go some to get on top of him next season. Are you
Mm.
excited about next season with the Duty Freeze, Lee? Do you think that's going to be a load of fun?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge. Not sure how well I will do. I'm not very comfortable in GT3 cars. Don't drive them very often, so we'll see. I'll see if I can get enough practice in to find some pace. But yeah, I'll see what I can do. It's just been a pleasure to be a part of it and trying to improve during the season to match the likes of Luke, Josh, and Truff and Chris. It's been good. I'm quite happy and proud of myself really that a couple of races I've actually beat Truff. Which one was it now? I believe it was Fruxton or somewhere. I might have one of them. I overtook him, and that was my highlight of the season.
Wow, you certainly should feel justifiably proud of that because not many get one over on Traff. Paul, you got a question for Lee before you let him go?
Yeah. What was your favourite race this season? Was it this one, or was there any? Was it the one that you overtook Traff on?
I'll be honest with you, that was the highlight of my season, but my favourite race has always been Alton. I love Alton Park, and I did well there. So I'd like to have done a bit better on the reverse grid, but I got the win on the first round, so I was really happy with that.
Nice, brilliant stuff. Well, good racing tonight, and good luck for next season.
Cheers, guys. Thanks again for the.
Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, Lee?
Just Luke again, putting in the time and effort to actually make this league. It's been really good to be a part of it. So hopefully I can keep making the races.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much to us, Lee.
Nice.
and enjoy your another podium to add to your tally this season. Let's hope you get even more in season 5.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
So then, with our podium finishes all interviewed, that very much puts us at the end of season 4 then. And Luke, obviously, you must be very, very excited about the 5th season coming up. Do you have any closing thoughts before we I get Paul's closing thoughts and then we end the broadcast?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a quick run through of the finishing order for this season. So obviously we've got Traff, who has took the win. Even before the final race, he's managed to secure the win with the points lead that he had. So he's done really, really well this season. Hats off to Traff, who unfortunately can't make it. He's on holiday, so Can't congratulate
Must
him,
be
but I
nice
hope
for
he's
him.
watching the stream. Yeah. And then Josh in P2, which he was, in the end, 28 points behind Traff, who obviously didn't make the last round because of being on holiday. So congrats
The
to
Traff
Josh
actually
again.
is written in the YouTube chat. He says, Trafford King Racing, evening from Crete, big sends, lads. That's what he said.
Fair play, Traff. Yeah, Lee then in P3, 301 points, just 30 points behind Josh. Then obviously myself in P4. I've got Chris close behind, being 9 points behind in P5. Then to Dave Price in P6. Ben Hayes P7. Matt Addy in P8. Ben Gibbons P9, who couldn't unfortunately make it tonight again. I think he's dislocated his shoulder, so commiserations to Ben.
We'll get well soon.
Yeah, Jake Wardle P10, one in P11, and Darryl Moss P12. So yeah, that was the top 12 of season 5 of VCR. And thanks to all the guys for turning up. It's been a great season, and obviously wouldn't be able to do it and enjoy it as much as I do without the close racing and the consistent numbers and consistent grids. So yeah, thanks to all those guys.
Paul, you got any thoughts before we come off air?
Yeah, I've done a few rounds of this series now, and got to say it never really disappoints. And great close racing, especially in the British touring cars and then the TCR. So the GT3, the next step up, some rear-wheel drive. So hopefully the guys can, or girls, if there are any girls that race, any opportunity, we'll be able to have some close racing in the GT3 action. So are you doing UK tracks, or are you doing across Europe, Luke?
I think we'll probably do some European tracks.
Nice.
Probably. I'm not sure. I'll put it all onto a random configurator. I think there's one UK track in there.
Okay, nice.
So,
yeah. I think
but,
a lot of British tracks, while they race GT3s, they're quite tight, aren't they? So and a lot of the European tracks give you a little bit more room. Barcelona springs to mind as one of them. So yes, you've got some great tracks in Europe.
The legs a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, so looking forward to that. And if I do any broadcast, look forward to watching what the action on track.
Yep,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. It always seems that I get pulled in for the last race of a VCR season. It seems like near the end, because I swear that happened a couple of months ago as well. So I've only really done 2, but I would be more than open to commentating on a third. So then, as our TCRs, Audis are shelved back into the garage, the GT3s will be brought out to play as Season 5 awaits us. Trafford King is your new champion, but your winner today is Chris McIntosh with a superb performance to beat Josh Hafey and Lee Southall. I've been Edward Hunter, commentating alongside broadcast director Paul Glover, and for half the race, Luke Woodhouse as well has been here too. Thank you very much for watching, and do stay in touch. Make sure you watch Season 5 as well here on the James Parfitt Broadcasting channel, and you never know, we might also see you on track one day yourself, so make sure you look up VCR and try and get involved yourself. But thank you very much for watching, and good night.